I am Peter Greenberger, and I work with Google. I'm happy to be here. Thank you very much for coming by. I know it's been you've had a lot of great sessions today, and I'm glad that you're sticking with us. I joined Google about a year ago to found and to manage this new team, this elections and issue advocacy team. For many years, we have been verticalized at Google. So we have an auto team and a finance team and a healthcare team and an entertainment team and about 5 or 6 other very large teams. Never before have we had a politics team, somebody focused on you, on the candidates, on the coalitions, issue advocacy groups, 527s, trade associations, to some extent nonprofits, and government. And we now do. 2008 was, in our eyes, a big enough year to get started. We think the market's ready, and we've jumped in. I'm going to walk through our basic information today, a little overview of how we've seen the media landscape change. You've probably been hearing a little bit or a lot of that earlier today, and so hopefully you don't need too much convincing, but you can count Google in the camp of people who think the media landscape has changed and that there's a lot of benefits to be found online. And then I'll talk a little bit about what we're doing, our core products, search, of course, our content networks or display advertising capabilities and how we target that. And then we'll talk a little bit about persuasion. And with that is really a segue into YouTube. But I wanted to leave room for questions. I'm sure there are many things that you're curious about Google, about the company, about what we're doing in this space, on other spaces. Some questions I'll answer, some questions I'll dodge, but I'm happy at least to entertain them. Personally, before I joined Google, I worked at a small company in Roslyn, New Media Strategies, which is a great online Web 2.0 company. Prior to that, for about 10 years, I worked in Democratic politics. Most recently, hey, there you are. Sure, that'd be great. I've been stalling, talking as long as I can before having to switch the slide.
Well, I hope it works. It will take a minute, I think, to get...
It'll take a sec to recognize.
If not, could you, Ben, just move forward?
Ben's on it. Thank you, Pete. We're good. Thank you very much. We have clicker. As I was saying, I come to this from politics, which I hope I can understand some of the hesitations that people have in this field. I worked for 10 years in Democratic politics. Worked in the Clinton White House. My last race was as campaign manager for Brad Carson, his ill-fated U.S. Senate race in the great state of Oklahoma. That was enough to convince me that it was time to settle down and stop jumping on campaigns around the country. So I think I hope I bring at least an understanding of what concerns you and of what you're trying to achieve online. And I've put this list together over the last several months working with different clients, but I'm happy to hear more, what you're trying to get out of the internet and Google specifically and how we can help. I believe that we can do a great job acquiring email addresses of supporters, which is now becoming almost the holy grail of politics. I think they valued Barack Obama's list recently at $200 million. So if we all had a list, even half the size of that, I think we'd be very happy. We can help you build that list. More importantly, we can motivate those supporters to take action. No good having a list if you're not getting people to do something, and namely contribute money would be at the top of that list. We can also help you reach out and influence opinion leaders and reporters in specific areas. We can talk about that. We can help you respond to news and content as it appears. There's a limitless amount of content appearing on the internet every day. Much of it takes place within the Google Content Network, and we can give you a voice to reach people reading that content. And then finally, the last two things, persuading undecided and swing voters. I think this really will be the election going into the general specifically. We haven't seen a ton of that, I don't think, in the primary, but I'm hoping that we can make that case to you and to the world in the general election. And then the last piece, creating earned media stories with limited ad buys, which I think is something that people have done in very creative ways online, and you can do that also using Google. So I hope that's a pretty good summation. If we could do that for you, then hopefully we would convince you and your clients to take a chance working online. Anything strike you as missing from that you are looking to accomplish online that you don't see up there?
Helping make things viral, like a network of online sites
That's great. It's a good point. So social networking and getting people to pick up your content
Yeah,
and spreading it
instead of
around.
having to go out and find them all individually, to have something that is a database for places where videos help our videos happen.
That certainly would be helpful, and maybe we can do a little bit of that. YouTube now has a tremendous insight program where you can look at your video and see where people are coming from, how many views it's getting from where, what times of day, and hopefully that's the sort of thing that can educate you in terms of how you release viral video. But in terms of getting it around the network, the internet that is, the Google Content Network might be a way to do that. Quickly, we're going to make the case here for the internet. I don't want to spend too much time on this because I do hope that you've been converted already, or at least downstairs you were. People now spend as much time online as they do watching television. And in many cases, they're doing both at the same time. So you're on your laptop while you're watching TV, and then maybe you're on your BlackBerry and your phone as well. So we're all multitaskers. And we have actually seen from our logs this spike, even in recent months. YouTube, which is a Google property, grew from the 8th largest website in the country to the 6th largest website in the country over the last few months. It coincided with the writer's strike on TV. So we believe people were actively turning off the TV, going onto YouTube looking for fresh content. So what are they doing online, and what is driving them online? We took the book, or the word, Freakonomics, which was a terrific book that came out a few years ago. Hopefully some of you have read it, or at least are familiar with it. Not only is it a good book, it has a very unique name, which makes it perfect for us to search on our logs to see what people were searching for. So we're assuming if they're searching the word Freakonomics, they're in all likelihood looking for the book. And we wondered why on some days were they searching for Freakonomics a lot more than they were on other days. And if you overlay these logs, and this is literally the volume of searches by day over a period of a few months, you'll see that it directly corresponds with what's going on offline. When the author goes on The Daily Show, search goes through the roof. When the book is featured in the New York Times or on the BBC or on the Today Show, people go online and they search. So this is, if you walk away with one concept today, it is that whatever you are doing that is public facing, whether it's running an ad campaign, your candidate or your organization is issuing a statement, or going door to door, or whatever it is that you're doing that is consumer facing, you've got to assume people are going to look for more information. That means getting your website ready, making sure you've got what you want on the home page, making sure people can find it. It also means, we believe, changing your search advertising strategy so people find what they're looking for. And this works directly with politics. So it's not just with books and with products. We have a tool called Google Trends. Has anybody here played around with Google Trends? It's a lot of fun. It's free. You can type in your own search queries, and then it spits out to you how they rate relative to each other. So you can get a sense on a given day if people are searching Coke or Pepsi, Britney Spears, Lindsay Lohan, or Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, whatever floats your boat. In this case, I did Obama and Clinton over the last few months or few days. I can't really see it, but you can see that right around Pennsylvania, so April 22nd, 23rd, 24th, Hillary actually surpassed Obama in terms of search queries, and as you can see, and then she went back down. So when these primaries occur, and we have seen this consistently over the last year, or this current year, search spikes. It goes through the roof. If I had done this with Republican candidates, you would have seen a surge for Mike Huckabee around January 3rd after Iowa. You would have seen John McCain surge in January 8th and 9th for New Hampshire, then Mitt Romney in Michigan, and then again to McCain in South Carolina and Florida. What's interesting, too, is if you look below the chart, you'll see where the most searches are occurring. And again, it tells the story that is not surprising. They're occurring in Pennsylvania, in Indiana, in North Carolina, in the places where people are actually looking for information. We have seen what we believe to be a watershed moment in terms of search over the last few months. So search, obviously, with how successful Google has been in many different industries, we're reaching almost maturity in terms of search. It is a must-do for most products and most industries. In politics, it has not been that to date. In 1 month, in the month of February, Barack Obama's campaign spent $1 million on Google. In 1 week of that month in February, he spent more than all the candidates spent in 2004. So we believe we've seen a dramatic shift. Now, Obama is certainly a unique figure. However, we've seen similar levels of spend from John McCain and from Hillary Clinton. So we really have seen these last few months as a tremendous, momentous occasion in terms of the history of search. Now, what is this search that I speak of? I'm assuming some familiarity with the product. It is a search engine. People use it as an entry point to the internet in many cases, and they do that by typing in search queries to find information. And so what you see here is a typical search page. On the left-hand side, you see our organic results. We can't touch that space. I am part of the advertising team. Very separate buildings, separate languages in some cases from the engineers who are putting together this algorithm. On the right-hand side, however, you do see 2 ads. So what we can do is we can control putting ads on the right-hand side of the screen, and in many cases, and you'll see an example of this in a moment, on the very top of the screen. So here's an example. Somebody searching the Missouri governor's race, and very cleverly you see 2 candidates are advertising on that term. Anyone working with Jay Nixon? Well, we're looking for his vendor. They're doing a great job. Another example of this from the other side of the aisle is an opportunity to define your opponent. So here's a case of Dr. Sauerberg, who is a physician and Republican from Illinois running for Senate against Dick Durbin. He has purchased the terms Dick Durbin on search. So whenever someone searches that term, either in DC or nationally or probably in Illinois as well, you see this ad identifying Dick Durbin as the most liberal senator in the United States Senate. So even if you don't click on that ad, he is getting this message across to voters, to reporters, to influentials, trying to convince them to take a position on Dick Durbin. Now, the way this works, and again, forgive me if you have a lot of familiarity with Google AdWords, but it's an auction model, and it's a pay-per-click model. And that means you only pay when someone actually clicks on your ad, in the first case. So you lose nothing if you run the ad and nobody clicks. And your position and your price depends on the marketplace. So if you're the only one bidding on a term, you're not going to pay much. We're talking about a couple cents a click. If there are a number of people bidding on the term, 2 things are taken into consideration. What you're willing to bid, so the max CPC, the max you're willing to pay per click, and 2, your quality score, which is essentially how many clicks are you getting. Are you relevant? Is this what people are looking for when they're searching on that topic? We always reward relevancy. If you're getting no clicks, your ad will literally disappear. It will not show. And particularly political advertisers have a problem with that because they're used to sort of forcing ads into the pipeline regardless if somebody wants to watch it or not. With search, this is a different mentality. Yes, there's a question in the back.
What's the minimum that you could bid to do an ad?
The minimum is, I believe, a nickel, literally a nickel. And what you'll find is if you search for perhaps the name of your organization or organizations that you work with, in many cases you'll find nobody advertising against that word, in which case you're going to get probably a very, very low cost per click, and you're probably going to get a lot of clicks, assuming people are searching for that organization. So it can go a lot higher. If you are a trial lawyer and you're looking for people affected by asbestos, for instance, it might be $50 a click. In politics, we've generally seen a range from a couple cents to a couple bucks at the very most. Another reason that you'd want to advertise on Google.com is to control the message. So in many cases, and here's, I think, a good example from the Barack Obama campaign, you never know what is going to appear first when someone's searching for you or for the issue you care about. Breaking news could affect that. If you've written books, those may affect it. If anything else is going on. You also can't control the snippet of text that appears underneath the entry on organic search. This is a way to control that. So what they've done is they've purchased the name Barack Obama. They've put their official website at the very top of the list. That's again, a combination of what they're willing to bid and the relevancy. And now the first thing you see on this page is the official campaign website. The news below this happens to be good. He had a good night. If the news had been bad, however, this would have been a great opportunity for him to control the message. See why we won last night. Click here, regardless of what the results were. Yes?
That by on the right side and the top, they're two different choices.
They're exactly the same. They're exactly the
You
same.
get to control if you're on the right side.
The control you have is what you're willing to bid and the relevancy. Exactly. I mean, you bid more. And in many cases, if you bid more, maybe temporarily you'll appear above the fold there. If you're not getting clicks, it'll flip. The example I showed actually from Illinois was rare, because you'd imagine if someone's searching for Dick Durbin, they're probably looking for information about Dick Durbin. So my guess is that he was getting more clicks and his ad would have flipped on top, because you notice he was running an ad too.
Yeah.
Any other questions on that? One last example, just to really drive it home, you can pick your favorite issues. So in this case, someone searching immigration reform a few months ago, when the issue was hot on everybody's mind, you see a number of advertisers bidding for those words. So by definition, they're paying more than what someone might have been paying for Dick Durbin or for another term. In this case, you see Rudy Giuliani, I think you see Bill Richardson, the DSCC, a number of other organizations. So it's another good opportunity to capture names at peak moment. So if there's an issue that's hot and your organization is looking for signups, you're looking for new people, new blood, you might consider purchasing those keywords, and as people are looking for that information, if you've got something compelling to say, you may be able to build up your list that way. So that's search. Search is generally allocated 40 to 50% of online budgets, and that's what corporate marketers, corporate advertisers say, about 40 to 50% on search. The rest goes on everything else. In terms of the rest, what we have is something called the Google Content Network, and that is our display advertising network. Between search and our content network, we can reach about 85% of all U.S. adults who are active online. And it includes some of the top brands on the internet. And I'll walk you through a little bit of how we do this. The great benefits of the content network are two things. The scale, simply how many, the tens of thousands of websites that are in our network that you don't have to place buys with individually, but also the ability to target. And one way that we target is something we call contextual targeting. Similar to how the search engine places your ads next to the correct words that people are searching for, hopefully relevant words that will help you make a sale or get a lead, we place your ads alongside relative content. So here's an example in the WashingtonPost.com, which is a part of our network, an article about Hillary Clinton from a little while ago, and you see two ads on the right-hand side, both placed contextually. The first is advertising the Hillary Nutcracker. Not one of my clients. Might make a nice Mother's Day gift if you're still looking. The second is from Mike Huckabee. And Mike Huckabee was very clever in terms of, he figured if someone's reading this article about Hillary Clinton, you either like her or you dislike her. And he's hoping that those people who are reading the article and dislike her and are looking for somebody to beat her might click on his ad, which is, as you can see, specifically tailored to the term Hillary Clinton. This is also cost per click model, so no money. The Nutcracker people and the Huckabee campaign do not spend a dime until somebody actually clicks. And again, it is placed through this contextual targeting. You get a report within 24 hours giving you an idea of where it all appeared. Yes, sir?
Can you specify which media these ads go into?
Absolutely. And that is something that we call placement targeting. Which here's an example. For instance, if you had said, I just want to be on the Washington Post, U.S. News and World Report, New York Times, CNN.com, we can do that for you. And I'll go into more detail in a moment, just to give you the idea that it's not just text as well. We can do video ads, we can do banner ads, essentially all of the regular ad formats that people are accustomed to we can use, including something called gadget ads. Which is really widget ads with a G, which is what we like to do. And the gadget ads are particularly dynamic. One thing to note about video ads, and I know there's at least one person here from a media firm. When you run a video ad on our content network, the view is free. So if somebody clicks on this ad, this was for Inconvenient Truth, for Al Gore's film. If someone clicked on this ad, much like a YouTube video, it has the transparent arrow on it. You watch the ad. there's no charge until the user actually clicks on the URL. So it's still a cost per click model, not a cost per watch model. Now you're going to bid a little more because that ad, as you see, is taking up more real estate. There would have been 2 or 3 text ads there. You've got to outbid 2 or 3 text ads. Does that make sense? Now, to more directly answer your question, sir, if you come to us with a demographic group, for instance, you say, I just want to reach young men interested in sports in the state of Iowa, which you might do if you're running for president, then what we would do is come back at you with a list of sites which are directly tailored to that demographic, and we would place your ad on those sites. So here's an example: the Barack Obama campaign running an ad, a banner ad on an Iowa-specific sports site during the primary. And in this case, they may be paying CPM, cost per impression, because what they're telling us is they're not so much interested in the clicks, they're more interested in the views. Although we can offer CPC when you placement target as well. Was there a question here?
With your partners like U.S. News and Washington Post and New York Times, their ads have demographics because they are registration sites. Do you have access to that for placement?
We do not do that. So that is often called behavioral targeting. We will not do that. We are demo targeting really based on the content of the site or the article specifically. On YouTube, we can do that as a Google property, and when you do sign up for YouTube, you give your age and your gender. So you can run an ad on YouTube that is just targeting women a certain age in California if you want to geo-target it. But on our partner sites, we do not do that. Good question, though. Yes?
Is there a premium for the targeting to the partner sites?
Same model. You're still bidding. Now sometimes it's CPM as opposed to CPC, but we can work under both models. But it's depending on the site, you might have to bid more. There might be more demand.
I go to both sides. I run ads and then I host ads with AdSense. Is there
Great.
a way to tell with AdSense whether it's CPM per view or per click?
Through your AdSense account? I don't think there is, but as an AdSense partner, you may have more insight into that. I run ads on my blog, but I don't get a ton of traffic, so we haven't made much. That's a good question, though. That's more than my baby blog. Well, then hopefully you're seeing some good revenue from that. I'm not sure. I can follow up with you though afterwards to see if you can get insight into that. So just to give you another sense here, you essentially come to us, you say, here's who we're trying to reach. Left of center, right of center, men, women, hunters, enviros, whatever the demo that you're looking for is. We often have these things already sliced and diced. If not, we'll create a custom pack for you. You take a look at it. You can cross out sites. You can do site exclusion if there are particular sites you don't want to be on. You can even do keyword exclusion. For instance, if you're an airline and you don't want to appear next to an article about an airline crash, the word crash might be a word that you might want to put into your exclusion category. And hopefully that we will avoid any sort of embarrassing instances like that. All of this, as I've mentioned, can be geo-targeted. So that's search as well as the content network. So if you search for a term, if you search for a candidate in California, you may see one ad. If you search for that candidate in another area, you may not see an ad, or you may see a different ad. So it's all determined by where the user is coming from, and that's also true on the content network. So if you want to reach that female voter of a certain demo, a certain age, you may want to run your ad on marthastewart.com, but only in your district. We can do this by country, we can do it by state, we can do it by DMA or city, we can do it by address. Literally, you give us the address and we draw a circle around it, and we can even do it by whatever you want. So a Google map will appear as you're building your account. You draw dots on the map, it connects the dots, and there you go. You have a congressional district, or you have some sort of other awkwardly designed area.
Is this based on ISP location, or do you have some other formula?
We are looking for your server.
people out of Northern Virginia through AOL.
The AOL conundrum, that's right. We have solved that working with AOL. However, it is a good point. In some cases, we can't tell where you are. If it's cloaked or if there's any question in terms of location, we do not run geo-specific ads. So they may still see the national advertising, they won't see geo-targeted ads. And in fact, we encourage you to draw your circle a little wider. We've had people ask if we can run ads just in the White House or on my neighbor's house. And your server may not be in your basement. It may be down the road or outside the district. So we do recommend that you do draw a wider circle.
Could you just explain to people, though, how you would know where the computer's coming from, or how the people know, just for people who might not be familiar with how that works?
Sure. I mean, our computer essentially can talk to your computer, and it figures out where the server is located through your ISP address. So it's making that connection. It understands where you're coming from, and then it hopefully serves the appropriate ad.
But it doesn't know anything. I mean, just to be clear, it doesn't know anything else.
It does not know anything else. That's right. That's right. And right, and it's a good point, and it's obviously on the top of a lot of people's minds in terms of privacy and what internet companies know and what they do, and we're very careful about that in terms of geo-targeting and in terms of everything that we do. Just to give you some quick notes on what we've been able to accomplish this cycle so far, Google ROI, turning supporters into dollars. I don't think we even need to make much of a case on this anymore. It's pretty obvious that the internet's a great place to raise money, just a question of how to do it. The McCain campaign has said publicly through AdWords they bring in through the internet rather, they bring in $3 or $4 for every dollar they spend. They have seen a higher ROI on Google specific. The other campaigns, I believe, have seen 10 or 20 or 30 times that at different moments during the campaign. But needless to say, it's generally, and certainly this cycle, it's been better than one-to-one. And if you're not getting one-to-one, then we should talk and make sure that you're doing the right stuff. Can we actually get people out from in front of their computers and to the polls? And I think that's always been a big question in people's minds. I think we're making that case pretty persuasively too this cycle. The Obama campaign ran and continues to run geo-targeted get-out-the-vote ads. So if you were in Texas, and here's a quote from Pluff in the New York Times, if you were in Texas searching for an early vote location or your caucus location, you would have seen a very specific Obama ad instructing you where that location was. They believe, and according to their logs, about 20,000 people came through Google Ads looking for their location and then hopefully turned out. Now, we've done tests with other entities who have seen tremendous results, not only in the amount of clicks and the amount of signups, but in turnout. So in a couple of these special elections, we have overlaid the names of the people who registered through Google with the voter file, and they have seen tremendous success in terms of turnout. So your cost per voter has been, in the views of the folks who did these tests, ridiculously low, really a lot lower than anything they've ever seen. So I think you'll see a lot of this in the general election, get out the vote strategies using advertising. And then finally, the holy grail, right? Google ROI in terms of persuasion. We know that we can raise money. We think that we can turn out your partisans and your supporters. Can you make the case online to convert somebody? We think you can, and I think it goes a lot to video. People are increasingly watching video online. YouTube by itself is a massive site, the #1 entertainment location. 10 hours of video are uploaded to YouTube every minute, which is why it's important to make sure your viral video is particularly catchy. And I think you can use video for persuasion. So here's an example of what the John McCain campaign is doing. They are asking people to sign a petition, stop pork barrel spending, and they're hoping that they're going to get a certain type of person who then they can make their case to over the course of the next couple months in terms of voting for John McCain. So I think you'll see more of this, and it is our great goal. I think phase 1 of this campaign, we have seen a tremendous use of the internet and use of Google specifically in terms of raising money and in getting out the vote. Persuasion really is the next frontier for us, and we're looking forward to working with you guys, making that happen.
Is there a 10-minute limit now on the videos?
That should not be the case. I know, the Obama campaigns uploads all their speeches, and some of them are quite a bit longer. So that should not be the case, and certainly nothing I'm aware of. I don't know if have other people had that experience. Have you? That's interesting. Or maybe.
You have to have a different account. You don't have to pay more for it, but I think you have to sign up for a different, what they call it, a director's account or something.
That might be the case.
Just to get over it, but there's no cost there.
Yeah, I can't imagine that there's a cost associated with that. We could help you, absolutely. And with YouTube, I think it's something that is, again, it's a must-do. And I hope it's gotten beyond the sort of gotcha moment of just trying to film politicians saying stupid things or doing stupid things. It's becoming a medium in its own right. We now provide a free brand channel to all candidates. All nonprofits as well have a free brand channel. So this is a place where you can upload all of your video, have your own channel on YouTube. And I encourage all of you to do that. Look into that. It's free. But I would also encourage you to consider advertising to drive traffic to it, because it's great to have a brand channel, but it's even better if people actually go there and watch it. And the last slide here is another free product, which I'd encourage you. Yes?
Yeah, so I just had a question about how far off do you think Google is from actually becoming a pollster, being able to track people's opinions?
A pollster, you said?
Yeah, because I mean, you essentially have the information, you can see what people are doing, what their interest is. So.
I think that search is, in many ways, it is a finger on the pulse of what people are thinking and doing. Google Trends is a lot of fun to figure that out. I'm told if you put in the names of the final American Idol contestants, you'll get a pretty good idea of who's going to win in terms of who's getting the most searches. I thought that would work with the politicians too, so I wagered that Obama would beat Hillary in New Hampshire, and I lost. So I think Google Trends, like a poll, is a snapshot in time, and it tells you what people are doing at one moment. They could change their mind. You also don't know if people are searching for ill or for good. They might be looking for positive information, or they might be looking for gaps. So I don't think we're going to go into the polling business. I know we brush up against a lot of different people in a lot of different industries, and I don't want the pollsters to think that we're going after their turf. But I think that we can work together in terms of the pollster giving us a sense of who they want to target, and then us trying to cater our content network to fit that description. But in terms of telling where people are coming from for your site, which is an attempt at a segue, Google Analytics is another free product, which I encourage everybody to try. It is a website traffic manager and measurer. So it is remarkably simple. You just upload a little bit of code onto the site. It's even easier than it sounds. And it gives you a sense of who's coming to your site in terms of where they're coming from, where they're spending time on your site. Are they coming from ads? Are they coming from organic search? Are they coming from a URL? And it can give you tremendous insight into what's working and into what's not working, perhaps. If you have a national organization and you're running an ad campaign in a certain part of the country, you'll see a spike in traffic from that part of the country. If you don't, then there's probably a problem with that creative or with that campaign. And it's just a tremendous tool to give you a sense of what's working. Has anybody used analytics? Excellent. AdSense Analytics. Terrific. And that is what I wanted to cover today, and happy to take questions on that or anything else Google related.
Question I had related to Google Analytics. Is it compatible with Blogspot? I ask because I've set up 3 different Blogspot blogs and planted the Google Analytics on each one and have gotten no results on the analytics.
My understanding is it should be compatible with everything. Now, there are instances where it won't work and it won't catch. We have a unfortunately small Google Analytics help team, and they can get very hard to get a hold of because a lot of people use Google Analytics. However, once again, feel free to reach out to me directly or our team, and we can try to help you with that. I mean, the goal for us is to give you the most clear and transparent picture of where your traffic is coming from. So, it's going to track ads from other networks, from other search engines, from organic as well as paid, with the idea being, very honestly, that the more you know, It's like the guy who sells the men's suits, right? An educated consumer is our best customer. You will see where the traffic is coming from, and the money that you may have been spending elsewhere, you'll put online.
I use Alexa a lot to compare traffic between sites. Does Google have anything like that, or is it with the traffic from different sites comparing to each other in terms of reach or
Only the sites that you control. So analytics can only be uploaded to your site. People have asked that in the past. We can't tell you where other traffic is coming from, although hopefully analytics will give you a sense. If that traffic is coming to you, you'll get a sense of that.
there's no way to like evaluate other media where it would be potentially interesting to advertise to get an idea of what traffic is or what kind of traffic you're getting?
Only through your AdWords account, and which may seem like a sly answer, but if you're in the game,
Run it.
if you run it, you'll see, and hopefully, nothing gained, nothing lost. It's cost per click.
Just a little bit in the work.
That's right. Exactly. And in fact, once you're in the account, you may have tried this, the traffic estimator. So you can get a sense of, because it's going to estimate for you your cost per click and make a recommendation in terms of a bid. So you're free to experiment with other words. If you're curious what your competitor might be spending, you can put in that name, get a sense of what the traffic is. And that's information that we never give out, but if you're in the system and placing ads, you can see that. So it's fun to get an idea of how much traffic is on different issues. Yes?
Do you all know how often people click on the sponsored links versus the organic search links? I mean, maybe I'm a cynic, but I always think things don't have what I want because somebody paid for it to be there, so I always pick the organic.
That hurts me to hear that. Personally, hurts me. Well, we hear that, and the answer, of course, is somebody's clicking, right? Obviously, a lot of people are clicking, and that, believe it or not, even if you're not clicking on that ad, it is influencing you. We have done studies where people come in, like yourself, and say, I never click on those ads. And then, obviously, with their permission, we monitor their web habits over an hour or two, almost like a focus group. And sure enough, they click on the ads. They click on the ads more than they think. We also have seen studies across different industries, across all industries. You'll get more clicks if your ad is in both places. So if you're searching for something, whether it's a product, a restaurant, a hotel, an issue, or a candidate, if you see it in organic and you see the ad, it's human nature. You'll get anywhere from 25 to 30% more clicks on one or the other. So you may be getting more organic clicks, which is best case, you're not paying for it, but that ad is helping push people there. So people are clicking on the ads. It's a smaller percentage. I mean, your average click-through rate across Google is 1%. So that's, that gives you a sense of how many people are clicking. Not very many relative to how many people are searching. However, 1%, you're still seeing 1% is not a bad rate compared to other direct marketing activities, especially if you're only paying for that 1%. Yes?
Is it true that you should always click on Republican ads to cost them money?
I just click on them once if you're interested in the information. We are wise to that. Those are called, well, they're not accurate clicks. And we've actually taken more efforts in recent days. You may have seen this. It's harder to click the ad. You actually have to click directly on the URL. You used to be able to click anywhere on the ad. And we believe that we were seeing clicks of lower quality, people who were clicking and not spending time on the site. So it was a misfire, a misclick, so to speak. So we have a system in place which checks for that. So if we see anything out of the ordinary, if first of all, more than one click from the same server is an immediate red flag, and you won't get charged. The advertiser won't get charged for those clicks. If we see clicks appearing at the same time of day every day, if we see anything essentially that varies from the normal search pattern, you will not be charged for those clicks. So stop that behavior. Any other questions? Anybody using AdWords right now for their campaigns? My goodness. Well, I really encourage you to jump in. And the beauty of Google AdWords and most of our products is that it is there are no commitments, there are no contracts, there are no minimums. You can jump on and say you're going to spend $5 a day. I think it's $5 to get started, but after that, it's free to do as many campaigns as you'd like. And we encourage you to experiment. You may try 10 different types of ad text, going to 10 different landing pages, and you'll see that 1 or 2 or 3 work better than the others. So we encourage you to try that. I'll close with a great story I heard recently from the author of the book, The 4-Hour Work Week. Has anybody read that book? Anybody interested in a 4-hour work week? What he said, he's a young guy, a very clever guy, and the book is doing well. His original title for the book was How to Sell Drugs and Play All Day. And he brought that into his publisher, and the 3 older folks from the publishing house said, absolutely not. Walmart's already pulled out. They're not running the book, so come up with a new title very, very quickly, or else we'll come up one for you. He went home with $100. He ran a handful of AdWords using different slogans, different titles of the book. And after a week, he came back and he said, here's the title of my book, The 4-Hour Work Week. It by far got the most clicks. It got the most traction on his microsite or blog that he had running. And there's my focus group. So again, I don't want to infringe upon the pollsters or the focus group leaders. But when you're doing your focus groups, you're looking for a slogan, you're looking for a tagline. I recommend you take $100, you run some Google AdWords, and you might get a quick answer. That's all. Thank you very much, everybody. Happy to answer questions one-on-one afterwards.